Ladies and gentlemen, Jane Fonda recently gave a speech at the Cannes Film Festival, and she just came all out of pocket blaming white men for climate change and blaming white men for racism. And she is calling for them to get arrested and jailed. Well, darn, Jane. But this is not the first time she was controversial. Back in the day, I remember reading about her comments that she made during the Vietnam War. And she had a nickname back then called Hanoi Jane. Now, I was so young at the time, I didn't even remember this happening. The only reason why I know about it is the school books had written about the controversial things that she was saying back then. So let's get into this article, y'all. Jane Fonda blames white men, racism, for climate change. She is calling for them to be arrested and jailed. Jane Fonda issued a stark warning about climate change on Saturday while placing the blame on white men. We've got about 7, 8 years to cut ourselves in half of what we use of fossil fuels. And unfortunately, the people that we have the least responsibility for it are hit the hardest. Global South, people on islands, and poor people of color. And we know we hate that term. The book club, the next chapter actress at the Cannes Film Festival. It's a tragedy that we have to absolutely stop. We have to arrest and jail those men. They're all men behind this. So the two-time Oscar winner added that climate change would not be possible without racism. And she said, and this is all to be blamed on white men that are at the top. So she says it's good for us all to realize that there would be no climate crisis if there was no racism. There would be no climate crisis if there was no patriarchy. The mindset that sees things, mm-mm-mm. She said, white men are the things that matter, and then everything else is at the bottom. So she's talking about the hierarchy way of things are seen today. So the 85-year-old actress has made headlines for her activism since the Vietnam War when critics branded her as Hanoi Jane for posing on a North Vietnamese anti aircraft gun that made it seem like she would shoot down US planes. All right. So while at the Cannes Film Festival, 80 for Brady, the star urged everyone to rally around environmental justice. And she went on to say, it's important because we have to get out of the silos. Feminists over here, environmentalists over here. That's what I learned when I started beginning to become an activist around the Vietnam War, she said. The more you go down any issue, whatever it is, you realize that it's all connected. And if we solve the climate crisis and we haven't solved those other things, we're going to be in trouble. This is not the first time Fonda, who has been arrested several times while participating in climate change protests, has connected climate change to social injustice. In January, she said everything such as sexism, racism, misogyny, homophobia, and the war is related. And if you really get into it and study it and learn about it and the history of it and everything is connected, there would be no climate crisis if it wasn't for racism, she stated on the Kelly Clarkson show. Where would they put the poison in the pollution? Fonda continued. They're not going to put it in Bel Air. They got to find a place where poor people or indigenous people or people of color are living. Put it there. They can't fight back. And that's why a big part of the climate movement now has to do with climate justice. All right. So earlier this month, she had called for all hands on deck as the climate emergency continues. The social justice warrior told Page Six that she didn't understand how you could not protest. I have grandchildren, she said at the premiere of book club, The Next Chapter. I love animals, I love nature. We're going to destroy it all if we don't. All hands on deck right now. It's urgent. Urgent. Everyone has to join in right now, she added. So that's what she said. And boy, it is raising a lot of ill feelings among her own people. Those are really the ones online attacking her. It's really not anyone else. Her own people, after she put out that everything is to be blamed on white men and they need to be arrested and jailed. Boy, yes, if you find these articles on Jane Fonda right now, you're gonna see her own people dragging her all over the place. But y'all, please tell me what you think about this video. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.